All right, so we have 9 types of energy that we need to talk about. So we're going to, this is just a brief overview of different types of energy. As we continue on through this chapter, excuse me, as we continue on through this chapter or unit, really, we will get more in depth on really each of these in their own ways. So the first two are probably the most common ones, the ones that we will probably spend the most amount of time talking about. So the first one is kinetic energy, which is just energy of motion. So it's the energy that any moving object has. The next one is gravitational, which is energy an object possesses due to its position above another object. So when an object has like a higher location of over another one, right? So that's gravitational, or later we'll talk about how it's really gravitational potential energy. And it is in yellow for a reason. We'll talk about that towards the end. Okay, next we have electrical energy, which is energy that's provided by electricity. The fourth one is chemical energy. Again, these last three are in yellow for a reason. So chemical energy is the energy that is stored in the chemical bonds between atoms, or molecules, I should say, sorry. The fifth one is nuclear energy, which is energy that is stored in the nucleus of an atom. Number 6 is elastic energy, which is energy that's stored in objects that are stretched, compressed, or otherwise distorted. Right, so in anything that's really stretchy, so like bungee cords, springs, slinkies, anything like that would have elastic potential energy. Too far, sorry. All right, so thermal energy is the energy of vibrating or moving I almost said polymers, molecules. I don't know why I was thinking that. Right, so again, that's going to let off any kind of heat, is going to be thermal energy. Radiant energy is energy of electromagnetic waves, which includes light. So radiant energy or light energy is number 8. And the last one that we'll talk about is sound energy, which is vibrational energy that is carried by sound waves. All right, so these are just our 9, the very generic list and definitions of our 9 types of energy that you do need to be familiar with. And I had mentioned that some of those ones that were in yellow for a reason. Oh, about that. So potential energy is energy that is stored in objects, right? So all of those types of energy that were listed in yellow were types of potential energy. So that was gravitational, chemical, nuclear, and elastic. So those are the 4 types of potential energy that we will talk about, right? And if you look back at those definitions, especially of chemical, nuclear, and elastic, it says energy stored in chemical bonds or the nucleus of an atom or objects that are stretched, right? Gravitational is considered to be potential energy because it's stored in an object that has the ability to fall, right? So if it's above an object, or if it's in an object above the surface of the earth, if it can fall down, then it's got a gravitational potential if it's up off the ground. All right, so the next thing we can talk about is how energy can be transformed from one type to another, right? We will go into detail on the law of conservation of energy, which says that energy can't be created or destroyed, but only transferred. So let's kind of talk through some examples of these energy transformations for just some different activities. Okay, so the first one is jumping on a trampoline. Right, so trampoline is very stretchy, right? When you go down, it's going to have that give, so that's going to be elastic, right, from the trampoline, right? But then when you jump down, it pushes you back up into the air, so you are moving, which makes it go to kinetic. And then what is going to pull you down? Gravitational, right? And then you're going to bounce on the trampoline. So then it goes elastic, kinetic, gravitational. So this one's just going to kind of go on in a loop as you jump up and down on that trampoline. Great, so let's talk about a TNT explosion here. Excuse me, guys, I apologize for all the yawns today. So, something exploding. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of chemical reaction making that happen. Right, and so once that happens, then there's going to be a big boom, right? A big sound that happens. It's also going to let off some light, which will make it radiant, and it will also let off heat. Right, so when you have an explosion, it starts as chemical, and then it goes to those three different types in smaller pieces. All right, so then we have a nuclear reactor, a nuclear fission reactor, so like a nuclear power plant. So this starts as nuclear energy, and then it's going to convert to thermal, and then that goes to kinetic, right, for a nuclear fission reactor. Again, that's not one I expect you to be very familiar with how it works. But so we're going to kind of practice thinking about everyday scenarios and breaking them down into their different types of energy transformations. So your assignment for today is to look at these three things. So if your phone is playing a video, think of a cannonball fire from a cannon. And if you're eating breakfast and running up a hill, right? Think through the energy transformations that are occurring here. I want you to have them written down and ready for class tomorrow. So this is part of your assignment. This is also my way of seeing if you watched this video all the way through. Let's hope you did. Okay, enjoy the rest of your snow day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.